overview of the parts we're going to be using for this build. The case we're going with the Corsair CARBIDE 100R Quiet Edition case or Silent Edition. ASUS H87ME board, socket 1150. H87 is the chipset. Core i3 4160 processor by Intel, 3.6 GHz. Socket 1150 again. 8 gigs of Corsair Vengeance LP 1600 MHz RAM. Thermaltake TR 700 watt power supply that will allow us to add possibly 1 or 2 video cards in the future if we need to, but we're not adding video cards in this build. ASUS optical drive, DVD-RW, no Blu-ray option on this optical drive. Seagate Barracuda 500 GB 7000 RPM hard drive. AF 120mm purple LED Quiet Edition fan 120mm for the top of the case, which I'll be showing here in a moment when we install it. The Logitech MK120 keyboard and mouse. So to do a quick overview of this case, at the front of the case you've got our 2 optical drive bays here, the bay covers. We've got a power and reset button, as well as a power LED and a hard drive LED. Those are white lights, by the way. 2 USB 3.0 ports, a microphone and headphone jack, Corsair logo. Front fan mounts, by the way, there's 2 that can be added on the front and 2 at the top. The 2 at the front will be bringing air in from the side. No visible fan will be seen on the front of this case. 4 hard drive mounting bays, 2 optical drive bays, up to 6 screws in each bay we can add to our optical drives. There are tools designs there too. Up to a full ATX board. In this case, we're going to be utilizing only a micro ATX in this case, so when you take up 3/4 of room. Front port umbilicals are right here, wire tied onto the back of the case. We've got a power supply mount down here at the bottom. It's got this rubber feet that the power supply will sit on, so it'll quiet down the power supply if you have a loud power supply that's vibrating. As well, we also have a removable fan filter for if we have the fans going downward, which we will be doing for this case, so you can clean it off. So I'll be right back. So I'm now going to be showing how to install our CPU and RAM into our motherboard. So I'll start by opening the board. Inside, with the board itself, the anti-static bag, we have 2 SATA cables, which we'll be using later on. In the bottom of this tray, we have our motherboard manual with our driver installation CD and a sticker. And we have our I/O plates, which is silver in color. Always make sure you ground yourself before you touch any of the components on the motherboard, the CPU, or the RAM. So there's our motherboard. A couple of specifications on the board. We've got 2 VGA and DVI ports for video, 2 PS2 ports, green for mouse and purple for keyboard, 4 USB 3.0 ports, HDMI, a gigabit Ethernet port, 2 USB 2s, and our 3 audio connections, 1150 chip, H87 chipset down here for a South Bridge, 4 RAM slots, up to 32 gigs of memory can be added to this board. Our 3 USB 2.0 external USB connections, 1 USB 3.0, 6 SATA 6 gigabit ports, SATA revision 3.0. So this allows us to transfer up to 6 gigabits speed. There's our front panel audio connection, PCI 3.0 16X slot or X16, and we've got 3 PCI 1X slots or X1 slots. 3 fan headers on a board. Our CPU fan is up here. Our case fan is right here, and our other case fan is right here. We've got an 8-pin CPU power connection, 24-pin motherboard connection. So we'll grab our CPU quickly. The label where we open it is on this side. So we've got our manual and our Intel Core i3 sticker. We've got our heatsink assembly, which we'll be using. We're not using a third-party water cooler or air cooler. And our Core i3 CPU. And for a RAM, let's just open that up quickly. It says background. So to install our CPU is very easy. All we do is lift up this retention lever. So we push down and pull away, then lift it up. You might have to grab it here. And then what we'll do is we'll open up our CPU, which is inside its protected case. Attach something metal again to ground yourself. Grab it by the edges when you're holding it that way to prevent ESD. Then we'll line up these two orientation knots on the orientation knots in the board. Drop the CPU and label it back for it just to make sure it's in there. Close the CPU. Good. This black cover will pop off. You want to hold on to this in case you have to send your motherboard back to the manufacturer in case it's a DOA part. We'll install our heatsink assembly quickly. Because this case has a window, we'll install the Intel logo facing down. So it's very simple to install these. All you do is push on one side until it clicks, push on the other side, opposite corner until it clicks, push on this side until it clicks, finally that side. And our fan will just pop out here. And we'll plug in because their fan header is conveniently right there. Make sure your cable does not hit your fan blades while it's spinning. That way you don't prevent any rattling noise or anything like that. So on our board, we've got a DIMM A1, a DIMM A2, and a DIMM B1 and a DIMM B2. We're going to be using the black slots, which is A1 and B1. This is A2 and B2. Grab it by the black part or the sides, the heat spreader, that way you prevent ESD. On the ASUS boards, these levers do not move back or these ears do not move back, so what you do is you lift up these sides only. You line up your orientation knots, push down on both sides, push down on the first side, you'll hear this side automatically click, and then on the other side. The same thing with this side, insert it, one side, the other side, and that's it. So I'll be right back and then we'll open up our power supply and install that into our case. So again, here's our TR700 watt power supply made by Thermaltake. So we'll open that up. Two instruction manuals, warranty and manual I mean. Power cable. So open. And also inside this bag, we have our 4 power supply black screws, so that will match your case color. Got just a twist tie on this cable. Set that aside. Next thing we have in our power supply. Got a twist tie on this cable too. There's a lot of cables on this power supply. Got our silver gel, just throw it away. So, there it is. The fan will be placing like this inside the case, so the logo will be facing out. The fan will be bringing air in from the bottom of the case. And there, we have a switch at the back for on-off, 4 power supply screws, holes. And we'll just install it in our case quickly. So what we do to install it, just keep the cables outside the case, line it up with the guiding rails it includes, lift it up, rubber feet will actually stick to it almost, and slide it so it's flush. Grab our screws quickly. Our screwdriver. go ahead and install these. Appears to be out of alignment, so we'll just push it forward a little bit more. Don't tighten the screws just yet until you get all of them in. First screw, opposite corner. Next. And that's it. So that's how easy it is. I'll be right back and then we'll install our hard drive and optical drive. Okay, so what you have to do to install your hard drive into the base is all you do is you push in on one side and then you pull this side open to clip in the other 3 holes here. And then all you do is you slide it into the front of your case until it clicks like that. No screws are required. The connections on the hard drive will go out the back of the case, and that's where we will be routing our cables and plugging the middle in. So to put in our optical drive on this case, you have to remove the front bezel, which I'll do here in a moment, and I'll be right back. Our front bezel removed. Now what you have to do is you have to start at the top and you bend in all these clips that are seeable here on the front of the case. You bend in on them and you pull out one side at a time. It takes a little while, but you'll get it out. What you do here for removing your optical drive bay is you push in on these 2 tabs and then it'll pop right out. You want to hold on to that in case you remove your optical drive someday and you don't want a big hole in the front of your case. What you have to do is you have to actually put your front bezel back on. The reason why, if I can put it back on, now, if you were to put the optical drive in first, you wouldn't be able to get the base plate to come out the front. So what you have to do here, now you can slide it in. Push in. See that latch came out? There, it just clicks in. When it's nice and flush there, it automatically just clicks in. And it doesn't move at all, actually, with the toolless design. If you put it in without front bezel on, you wouldn't be able to get it on. They have a ledge here, so that way the front just sits on it there. So it's just a nice finish. So we have our optical drive screws now. Go ahead and open these up. We actually only need 4. You can add up to 6 here, but I think 6 is too many, so we'll just put in 4. So the optical drive is mounted in there nicely. You don't want to use the electric screwdriver. You want to use a handheld screwdriver. So we'll start by opening up our I/O plates. Now we're going to put these 2 PS2 keyboard holes at the top of the case. That's the way it's oriented. Like that. Now we'll take our motherboard. You might need to move the strand cable up in place somewhere. That way it's not in your way when you put it in the motherboard. Put the motherboard by the heatsink. Now what we have to do here is actually we have to remove 2 standoffs so it can line up with our board holes. So I'll do that here in a moment. I'll be right back. So we've got our board installed into the case. We've used the precision screwdriver for these 2 here and these 2 at the top. Be very careful with those. It's kind of quite a tight fit. So just so you're aware, if you're using this case or building an exact PC like this. So now we're going to install our purple LED fan, the AF120. Alright, get this box open. Our 4 fan screws here that I'm going to be using instead of case screws. That way they'll be like the exact kind. We'll go ahead and install that and I'll be back in a moment. Our fan installed on the top. It's very simple to install, just a matter of seconds to install. Now it says a label here on one of the fan headers. It says CHA fan 1 or 2. This one's down here is labeled 1, this one's labeled 2. So we'll just plug it in right here, push straight down, and then our fan cable is installed. We'll tie wrap this after to clean it up when we do cable management. Our second fan, can actually just pull this cable, this tie off, pull the fan cable out. You could actually wrap it around here and plug it directly into the board. Then, once again, we'll tie wrap this cable after to clean it up. So, now we're actually ready to start plugging in our components, our front port umbilicals, our SATA cables, and our power connections, and do cable management. So I'll be right back. So I finished the cable management, and I plugged in all the SATA connectors and power connectors. And here's a quick look at what we did. So all of these cables are tie wrapped, and twist ties on them. At the back, we have a big spot of cables because this power supply has a lot of cables. The good thing is this case has a ledge here where you can fit your cables, and the side panel will push down on these a little bit and it will still fit on. Now is a good time to remove your plastic finally, or your side panel window. Very clear window. That's it. So our installation parts are finished, and now we are going to boot the system up and see if what we did works. So I'll be right back. Okay, so we're about to see if the system works. So I'm going to boot it up. It's going to be on this main screen. This is the first test. The fans are spinning. Monitors came on. Yep, it works. Now what we'll do is the last installation. Step 1, 2 run the setup. We'll now grab our USB with our OS on it. Plug that in first. We'll hit Control-Alt-Delete to restart. Delete. Now we'll go down to the boot menu, and we'll go to USB flash memory. Here to start the installation. So as you can see, we're at the desktop now. So we're just getting a couple of updates. By the way, this is Windows 8.1 Pro. So usually like 100 or 200 updates that you get with all of these. That's about it for this video.